Hi, I'm Sharon Bill. Welcome to my Theory Tuition series where I'm working with you step by step through each of the ABRSM theory grades. There are lots of resources available to help you on my website. If you visit sharonbill.com, you'll find some free PDF information sheets and you can download those in US letter or A4 and they accompany each step of this series. You'll find a page there with links to all of my YouTube video tutorials, and you can access information about the books that I have available. I've written How to Take Your ABRSM Music Theory exam. It's full of tips and techniques on how to best prepare for your exam, and also how to make the best use of your time when you're working through your exam paper on exam day. So if you go to sharonbill.com, you'll find it all there. If you can give me a like, that would be really super, and please do subscribe to my channel to keep updated. And now we're going to continue with the sample paper Y for grade 5. This is a free sample paper that's available to download from the ABRSM website. The link to that is in the description below. And this is provided just to give you a glimpse of how the newly revised exam papers from 2018 onwards will look. Most notably, there is no longer the composition of a rhythm question that you find in your music theory and practice workbook, nor is there the choral score writing for open and short score voice parts. And so we'll press on with the next question this. So we're looking at page 4 and that takes us to question 4. And so over the next 2 pages, all of these questions will be relating to this little extract of music here. So when we turn the page, just keep this top sheet to hand because we will be referring back to it. So we have a piece here for bassoon and piano. And then we've got a number of questions underneath. Now the questions, be careful now how we're asked to answer these questions. We have to not only give the bar number, but we have to mark clearly on the score. So we've got to annotate the score where we find the answers, as well as giving the bar number to direct us to that answer. So then, they've given us this first example here, so we're asked to look for the subdominant note in the key of C major, so we're looking for the 4th note, C, D, E, F, so bar 2 is where we can find one, and they've marked an A and circled. We were told to circle the note and then we're told to write the bar number, so we'll just follow the directions that we're given. So then, in the bassoon part, we're looking for a melodic interval. That's where an interval comes one note after another, because of course a bassoon can only play single notes, not chords. Can't play 2 notes at the same time, so it couldn't be a harmonic interval. So we're looking for the melodic interval of a diminished 5th. So we know that when it's a 5th, it either goes, for example, if I just sketch out, it'll either go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 1st, 3rd, 5th will be skipping a line, or 1st, 3rd, 5th will be skipping a space. So that will give us a clue. So let's have a look where we're going to find that. So in the bassoon part, so at a quick glance we can see all of these are way too close together. They're either steps or thirds or so on. Here we've got line to space, that's a 4th, that's a 3rd, that's a 3rd, 1, 2, 3. So here we've got a 5th, but we need to check if it's a diminished 5th. So we've got a G to a D, no key signature active. So actually that's a perfect 5th, so that's not what we're after. So we'll have to keep looking. 1, 3, 4, that's a 4th. These are all steps, so we can tell straight away that's no good. Here we've got a 5th, 1, 3, 5. And we've got a D to an A. So that's a perfect 5th as well, so that still won't do. And we've got a perfect 5th going back the other way here. Step, that's no good. 3rd, that's no good. So here's another 5th, so let's see what we've got here. So we've got 1, 3, 5, we've got a 5th. However, that's a B to an F. Now that's not a perfect 5th because B to F sharp is perfect. B to F natural is made smaller. We've diminished that perfect interval, so there is our diminished 5th. So if we circle those as we've been asked to, we'll mark a letter B here to show that that's to relate to question B, And then here we'll say, just look in bar 6 and you'll see where we've noted that answer. So let's carry on. In the bassoon part, we need to find a sign that means to give slight emphasis to a note. So we're just scanning through here. Well, these are slurs or staccatos. That's smooth, that's detached, so none of those will do. And then here we have a tenuto mark. So if we mark C there and say bar 4, a tenuto sign means to give it a slight emphasis, and it usually also means it's full value but slightly separated. And in actual fact, if we keep looking, we can see there's one here, so we could say C here, we could say C here for bar 7. So I've put the option of bar 7, and then we've actually got it here as well in bar 8. So you've got several options there, any one of those will do. Now we're asked to look into the piano part, and we need to find the chord of C minor in first inversion. So we're not looking for a needle in a haystack here. If we just think about what we're looking for before we start scouring through the score, and we'll find it quite quickly. So a chord of C minor, so C, E, G. C minor would have an E flat in it actually as well. And the first inversion, there's our root position, there's our first inversion. So we're looking for an E flat in the bass with these two other notes to accompany it. So we'll just start by looking through the bass notes. We've got C, G, F, G, D, G, C, C sharp, D. So none of those will do. Here we have an E flat, so that looks promising. And so the E flat, a C and a G exactly answers what we're after. So because we were new, we were looking for that E flat, for that minor third, not the E natural, which would be a major third. We're looking for that minor chord. We found it pretty quickly, so we'll mark the score there, D, and we know it's bar 3. So let's look now. So just some general observations, and here we're looking for a similarity and a difference in the bassoon part between bars 5 and 6. And oftentimes I can kind of guess, without even looking at the score, what that's going to be. And I can pretty much guess that one similarity will be the rhythm and one difference will be the pitch. I mean, don't just take my word for it, let's look, and I'm sure there are other things we can notice as well, but I'm just saying that's usually the first thing to look for. If that doesn't work out, then of course look for others, but I can pretty much guarantee that will often occur. So bar 5, bar 6, so we've got crotchet, quaver, rest, semiquaver, quaver, semiquaver, rest, semiquaver, note, two crotchets. So exactly as I've said, the rhythm is exactly the same, but we can see at the end of the bar the pitch change. Oh yeah, actually it's all through. The pitch is different. So we've got that straight away, but we'll look a little bit more closely at it as well. So the rhythm is the same in those two bars, the pitch is different. Let's see what else we can think about. So we can see, although the pitch is different, we're on different note positions, but we can see that the melodic shape is actually the same. It's got the same overall melodic shape, so you can see that descent, descent by a step by a third. So it's like a sequence that they've moved around the bassoon range. What else can we say is the same? So we've got the same slur, staccato, staccato, slur. So the articulation's the same as well. Is the same. Let's see what else that we can find that's different. So bar 5 is mezzo piano, bar 6 is piano, so the dynamics are different. So there's plenty there. Either one of those will do. Let's move on to the next page, the next part of this question. So keep this first page handy because we will need to keep popping back to that. So now we're asked to rewrite the last bassoon note of the extract. We need to be careful so that it sounds at the same pitch, but we're going to rewrite it in the tenor clef. And so we have to keep middle C as our anchor point so we don't end up at the wrong octave. So the tenor clef is the higher one, where middle C is the second line from the top, which is what your clef centres around. There is no key signature. So we've not got a key signature to add. So let's look what note we're actually looking for. The last bassoon note of the extract. So this is the bassoon part, this top line, and this is the bassoon note we're after. So here is middle C and the bass clef. So we're counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 down. C, B, A, G, F, E. Below middle C. So C, B, A, G, F, E, and then we can double check and count 1, 2, oh, where am I going from? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So there we go. And then that's a crotchet, but the stem will have to go up this time. There we go. Now this next section is another example of the way that the format of the paper has changed. Oftentimes we will now be presented with these performance directions and musical terms, but in multiple choice. Sometimes we're asked to underline it, sometimes it will be multiple choice. Remember, this is the cumulative list of all of the terms in the back of grade 1 Music Theory and Practice workbook, grade 2, grade 3, grade 4 and grade 5. We've got Italian, French and German now, so there's an awful lot there to get your head around. I suggest that you group them thematically, so anything to do with slow, group together, anything to do with fast, anything that makes sense to you as a group rather than just learning them alphabetically in an abstract manner. Even colour code them if that's what you need to do. Some are more obvious than others, and this one here, alla Marcia, I think is pretty easy to guess. March, Marcia, we can see it's in the style of a march, so I don't think that one's too difficult to remember. Now here we need to make sure we don't get thrown off, because at a glance all of those could easily mislead us. There's a few red herrings here though, so just keep your eyes peeled. We need 100 crotchet beats per minute, because 100 crotchet beats is a little bit vague. 100 crotchet beats in a minute is the exact tempo direction, that we get an exact speed there. 100 crotchet notes, that's a bit vague, and 100 crotchets in the melody is a little bit restrictive for the composer, don't you think? So just be careful that you get the exact definition and don't just sort of mistakenly cross one of those just as getting misled by their sneaky deviations here. Let's press on. So now we need to rewrite the bassoon part of bar 4, but now we need to change it to compound time. We mustn't change the rhythmic effect though. So we need to put a new time signature in place to do that for us. So before we do that, let's look what time signature we're in here. We're in 4 beats in a bar, we're in quadruple time, and we're in crotchet beats, which is groups of 2. And so what we need to do here is we need to stay in quadruple time, but we need to stay in dotted crotchet groups of 3. And the way we would do that, 4 groups of 3 is 12/8. That's our quadruple compound time signature. So that's kind of the thinking. Now let's look at bar 4. And this is the bit that we're writing. And if you remember, to go from simple time, which is groups of 2, to compound time, which is groups of 3, we've got to stretch things. So we do that by adding a dot and removing a triplet. And it's as simple as that. We add a dot, remove a triplet, and then, hey presto, we've got groups of 3 now, which will fit for compound time. So I just need to copy the blobs over, really. That's the thinking done. So we need the B, now with a dot, A, B, A. We won't bother with the triplet, and then we're going down to the G with a dot. So stem, group of 3, no triplet required now because we don't need to squish it, it's already a group of 3. There we go. So now then, we need to write as a breve or a double whole note the enharmonic equivalent of the first bassoon note of the extract. So we need it to sound exactly the same but be placed in a different place on the stave. So the first note of the bassoon in the extract is here, and that's the E below middle C. And if you just look at that on the piano keyboard, even if you don't play piano, it's a really good idea to just get used to visualising the piano keyboard because it's so obvious to see where we're going. And so we could have E could be D double sharp, or it could be F flat. Either one of those will do. Just be careful to position that carefully. So we're on the E below middle C. So that's where we were starting from. So the D double sharp will be just a step below that on the stave, but it actually works out the same sound, the same pitch. Oh, actually, 2 seconds, I got carried away with my double sharp there. Need to make that into a breve or a double whole note and then the sharp. Alternatively, if we go up from that E to the F, and then if we flatten it, that will also do the job, F flat. There we go. So now we've got a bit of general knowledge about the bassoon and orchestral matters. So is it true or false that the bassoon is a double reed instrument? Yes, it's true. It's just a matter of getting to grips with what the instruments of the orchestra are. Now, is the bassoon a transposing instrument? No, it's not. It plays at pitch, that does, unlike the clarinet, which transposes down a major second. So is it true that the bassoonist might be asked to play pizzicato? Well, pizzicato means to pluck the strings, and as it is that a bassoon does not have any strings, that's false, because that's actually a string related question, and bassoon is woodwind. So now we're told actually here that bassoon is woodwind, so if you were really stuck, part of your help is here. The bassoon is a member of the woodwind family of orchestral instruments. We need to name a standard orchestral instrument from a different family, so not woodwind, but we need to make sure it's a bass instrument that could play the extract as it's written comfortably without needing to jump octaves and so on. And so it depends what you choose. If you choose to answer this with a string instrument, then you would say the cello or the double bass. Either of those could manage that bassoon part in the bass clef. If you were to choose brass, then the tuba would do that job. So also would the trombone. So it's just getting to grips with the range of instruments. So that's quite a long question, but we've got to the end of it. We'll have a look at the next question in the next video. I do hope that's been of help to you. I hope it's helping you work through your studies. I hope it's helping you to get to grips with this subject. I also hope that you're enjoying it. I'm certainly enjoying working through it with you. If you can give me a like, that would be really fab, and please do subscribe to my channel to keep updated. Please also do visit sharonbill.com and make use of all of the resource and information that's available to help you there. Thanks for watching. See you next time. Bye.